I'm Jack Berryman, ACSM historian, and we're talking with Bill Dexter this morning as part of our ACSM's distinguished leaders in sports medicine and exercise science. So welcome.
Thank you,
Bill.
Jack.
Thanks so much. We'll go back in a minute, but congratulations, you're the new president-elect of the college.
Very exciting.
A lot of work ahead, so I wanted to start with that. But
Thank you.
if you could drop back and just tell us where you grew up and you know, where you went to college as an undergrad, and eventually you ended up in medical school, and maybe just a little bit of that early background. Then we'll talk about when you first intersected with ACSM.
Sure, absolutely. I grew up outside Boston and was always in competitive athletics. My dad was a halfback at Notre Dame for a year, and so
what town outside of Boston?
Winchester.
Okay, because I was in Amherst for quite a long time. So
sure. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
great place to grow up. I was a three-sport athlete through high school. Always was interested in pursuing medicine. It was one of those things when I was 3 years old, and
Wow.
thought I would want to be a doctor. There weren't really any in the family, but for some reason that just was preordained, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And then wound up going to Dartmouth College undergrad,
Great
where I
school.
was, I think I majored more in rugby than anything else.
So they had no scholarships, or at least you
No.
didn't get one?
No, no. I played a couple of years of varsity sports, football and lacrosse, and then found rugby, and became and has become a lifelong passion for me.
Wow.
I've continued my my involvement there. At one point, I had a opportunity to try out for the national team at about the same time that I had an opportunity to go up and start my internship at Maine Medical Center. And with 2 kids and another on the way, I thought maybe it was
You better make the right decision, right?
time to do it. My wife would have funded my rugby follies, I think, for as long as I wanted to, but she's been incredibly supportive of me all along the way, both in my athletic endeavors and careers.
So you probably didn't know about rugby till you got to Dartmouth, or did not much experience, probably.
None at all.
Yeah.
I really picked it up at Dartmouth, and
So had you played football, though?
I played football through high school. And
That was one of the 3 sports.
Yeah, and I threw the shot put and winter track, and then the spring played lacrosse.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a good run, but I was kind of an occasional student when I was at Dartmouth, and I took my gentleman's B and skedaddled. And
I understand.
And then did 4 years of various things between then and med school. I went back to school.
Wow.
And got real serious about my academics, and at that point was in Virginia, and I went to the Medical College of Virginia for my medical degree.
What town's that in?
Richmond.
Okay.
Richmond, yeah.
Okay.
And at that time I was living in Richmond and had just gotten married. My wife is a nurse, now a nurse practitioner, and so we were both at the same medical center, and so it worked out really well, and we started our family in Richmond. And then I went to
What year was that, Bill?
I went to med school from '82 to '86, so
Okay.
graduated in '86.
Okay.
And then went back north, back to New England, to Maine Medical Center for my family medicine residency. And
Is that a 3-year or what?
3-year residency.
3-year.
Yeah. When I was in med school, Jack, I had wanted to pursue sports medicine. I knew that going into medical school that's what I wanted to do, and honestly, at the time, that pretty much meant orthopedic surgery.
Yes, it did.
And
Yeah.
so I spent my first year, sort of apprenticed myself to the orthopedic department of the Medical College of Virginia, and realized after about 6 months of many Saturdays spent as a research assistant, if I can use that term, mostly a scut monkey for the chiefs doing their projects and going into the OR and so forth. I came to the very hard realization that I not only didn't enjoy surgery, I didn't enjoy orthopedic surgery. And then I found the family medicine department and they had me rotate with a guy named Jim Miller in Richmond, Virginia. He was a family doctor who did an enormous amount of sports medicine in his office. He was a master's swimmer, had been a talented runner at UVA, and I fell immediately in love with that method of practicing.
And you're seeing a whole range of patients?
Whole range of patients. He was working with people who were newly pregnant, almost to deliver pregnant, delivering their babies, helping them with their exercise throughout their pregnancy. He was taking care of teams. He was planning masters swimming events. He even wrote a book on that. He was taking care of minor fractures and just doing the whole gamut of what sports medicine really meant to me.
Yeah.
And I just said, that's what I got to do. And so I actually started looking for some postgraduate and post-residency opportunities. At the time, there were probably 12 or 15 primary care sports medicine fellowship programs in the country. And I was fortunate enough to find a family medicine residency program that supported my aspirations to do postgraduate training and fellowship training in sports medicine. And then I was fortunate enough
Where was that?
At Maine Medical Center, where I did my residency.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, that worked out.
It worked out beautifully.
Now, they're not, are they in Orono, or where?
Portland, Maine.
Portland,
yeah.
Maine.
University of Maine's in Orono.
Yeah,
Home of the Black Bears. My daughter Hannah is there as a sophomore and is playing lacrosse for them. So.
I was the soccer coach at UMass for a couple years.
Oh, is that right?
So the Yankee Conference was my bailiwick.
Yeah.
Yukon, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it up there.
It's a beautiful region. It's the Four Seasons just really appealed to me.
And you're still there.
I'm
right?
still there. Yes, so my
that
trajectory.
worked out.
Yeah, it worked out beautifully. My during one of the questions you asked is when did I intersect with American College of Sports Medicine, and it was during residency, and I looked for organizations, opportunities that would allow me to grow my skills in sports medicine, give me a professional home, and at the time that was the American College of Sports Medicine, and so I contacted some folks, joined the organization.
What year do you remember?
I honestly don't. Isn't
Close?
that terrible? It was a long time ago. It was
Close?
let's just say the late '80s.
Okay, all right.
And I think I became a member in '88 and probably went to the first meeting in '89.
Okay.
And actually at that time, Doug McCaig and others had started the team physician course, which at the time was a 3-year course.
Yeah, because it was in parts.
Right.
What?
It was 3 separate parts. You had to complete part 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And so I started with the team physician course when I was in residency, and so obviously joined the organization, took that course, went, wow, this is fantastic.
This is it.
This is it, and started to meet people like Doug McCaig, and have started developing my professional relationships as a resident. I found the organization challenging, welcoming, stimulating, just a fantastic professional home for me, and have never looked back.
Yeah. Wow.
So after residency, I went to the University of Minnesota, where I did my fellowship with Rob Johnson.
Was Bill Roberts there then?
Bill Roberts, that's where I met Bill Roberts.
Okay.
And as I fast forward into my career with the American College of Sports Medicine, Bill Roberts has been, for me, an inspiration. He has mentored me. Lord knows why he took an interest in this brash young man back in the early '90s, but he did, and so now we are very good friends.
And you do a column in the Sports Medicine Journal, don't you?
Yes, he edits the current sports medicine reports, and I've been the web alert editor for many years.
That's
and
right.
now I work. I now direct a fellowship, and my fellows help me with that. But after my year at Hennepin County with Rob, who again has been just a...
Was he in ACSM?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that Rob insisted that we do as fellows was to develop our research and our case presentations and submit them here to when I say here, to our meeting for presentation. And so my first national presentation was at the 1990 American College of Sports Medicine meeting, where I presented a case. Got chewed up, I'm sure, but it was all in good fun, and learned a ton. And again, it just was such a growth experience for me. And you know, the people who the giants of the field are on our panels, and afterwards you get to meet them and develop those relationships, and it's just been fantastic.
Did you meet Alan Ryan when you were in Minnesota, in Minneapolis? He was the editor of the Physician in Sports Medicine for a long time and was involved in the college. Now, he may have been out of it, the editorship then.
I think he was out of it. The editor, when I got involved and first started submitting to the Physician in Sports Medicine, was actually Richard Strauss.
He replaced Alan.
Yes, exactly. And I have very fond memories of actually getting a phone call from Dr. Strauss, who said, "Bill, we're going to be in San Diego. Bring your rollerblades, because we're going rollerblading." And so that's what we would do. I would rollerblade with him at the meetings, and that's how we would. One of the ways we'd get our exercise at the annual meeting.
Well, Alan Ryan was one of the first physician members of ACSM. Did a lot and wrote a book called Medical Care of the Athlete in 1962.
I was given a copy of that book by one of my graduating residents as a parting gift from residency.
Yeah,
it's on my bookshelf.
I mean, that was a classic. And then you think of 1962, you know, there wasn't much out there, really.
Yep.
So I thought maybe you ran into him in Minnesota.
No, I didn't.
So you're back at Maine. What now? Do you also go to family medicine meetings, or is this your main professional group?
Oh, yes.
How would you describe your?
Yeah, this is absolutely my main professional group, and with that said, I also am very involved in the American Medical Society for Sports Medicine. I'm a charter member of that organization. Very, very different, very different groups, and I treasure each, actually.
Yeah.
But my main professional home is here. It has been not just a professional home for me, Jack. It's been a family. And one of the things I'd like to share on tape,
Please,
if I might, is a couple of years ago I had a terrible accident, and
I remember Bill Roberts telling me about it at the banquet.
Yeah, it was. So it's been an interesting couple of years. And
tell me more about. I forgot what it was. Bicycling, wasn't it?
I was bicycling with a friend, and we were hit at a pretty good clip from behind, and after many surgeries and many weeks of rehabilitation and being months of being in a wheelchair, etc. You know, here I sit as the president-elect, and so it's been a remarkable journey. But I have to say that that journey has been made possible and continues to be made possible, not in small part due to the relationships that I have been able to establish and maintain in this college, and the college itself has honestly played a huge role and continues to play a huge role in my recovery. And the love and support that I have received from the staff, from Jim Whitehead, you know, the emails and letters that I receive literally from around the globe.
Isn't that great?
It's fantastic.
It's priceless. Yeah.
It absolutely is, and to me, it wasn't surprising in retrospect, but it was unanticipated.
Yeah.
And so to me, this is so much more just a professional organization. It's so much more than just a place where I can hang my sports medicine hat.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Sandy was good on time. I have them set up that we have to really keep going.
Yeah.
So, no, we're doing great.
All right.
So, back at Maine, do you work with any sports teams, high school? I don't know what's in the town.
Oh, quite a few. I've really had a blessed career. After fellowship, I went to Dartmouth and joined the faculty at my old alma mater.
Oh no, we didn't get to this.
No,
no. Tell me about that. Oh my heavens.
Yeah,
okay.
it was really it was just
Wow.
it was a great opportunity, and so I was there for about 6 years, and then my old colleagues at Maine Med called me up and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, not much." And they said, "Well, are you interested in coming back and starting a program for us?" Wow. And my wife and I love Portland. We still had lots of friends there, and so we jumped at that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I was able to start my own sports medicine program at Maine Medical Center. It's been a wonderful ride for the last 16 years.
Is it just you, or do you have?
Not anymore. Yeah,
for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic case of when I arrived, I said, is there a sports medicine program? Well, no, you're it. And I said, okay. So I had cards printed up that said Director of Sports Medicine, and that's what I became.
Yeah.
And so I started a fellowship. I started a clinical program, and then I started a fellowship program pretty quickly after that. And so we're in our 15th year of the fellowship
wow.
program. And in fact, just the other night, we went to the China Pearl restaurant, and we had 18 of my former fellows, and we all had a wonderful.
And they're here too.
And they're all here,
which is interesting
Yes.
about your connection, and obviously you've passed this on to
absolutely
the others.
Absolutely, this has become a vital part of many of my graduates' professional lives, and I'm really proud to say that my former grads are now moving into senior leadership positions.
Isn't that great?
It's
That's
fantastic.
so rewarding.
Yep. One of my first fellows, Mark Bouchard, just finished rotating off the board and has been invited to run for vice president.
Oh wow!
And I've got another former fellow, Eric Adams, who will be running for the board next year. And it's terrific. And so I did the same thing that Rob Johnson did for me. I said, okay, here's our organization, guys. We're going to submit our research, we're going to submit our cases, we're going to submit programming, we're going to be on panels, we're going to contribute to the vitality of the organization. And that has been a terrific success, and one that I'm very proud of.
In the last couple minutes,
Sure.
How far is Hanover from Portland?
Oh, probably about 3 hours,
Okay.
about a 3-hour drive.
Now, or do you still have connections with Dartmouth, or is
I
it
do
just
some,
too
yeah.
far to?
Yeah,
much.
it's more of an informal relationship now. There are various levels of academic affiliation through the Department of Family Medicine, and I no longer do family medicine. A few years ago, I finally said this is too much to do on top of all the other things that I was doing. But there's still some very robust connections there.
So tell me about your time then at Dartmouth. We skipped that somehow, and I was it. So you were on faculty.
I was on faculty. I was on faculty at Dartmouth.
In what department? Family Med, or
well,
what?
actually,
how did that work?
I was in the Department of Community and Family Medicine.
Okay.
And I was primarily, I was in the clinician educator track.
We have that.
And so I had a very busy clinic, and I did a lot of community outreach. And that's really where I kind of got jump-started into American College of Sports Medicine, and got pulled along by Rob and by Bill Roberts and others.
What years were they, Bill, when you were there?
I was there from
8 years, you said.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 1990 to 1996.
Okay.
And so that's where I started getting involved in the team physician course, now as a faculty member as opposed to a participant.
Did you do anything with their teams at Dartmouth or not?
No, very little. I actually was really involved in the community. I took care of the Cardigan Mountain School, Lebanon High School, a number of other local high schools and volunteer organizations.
Okay, okay.
And fast forward to Maine, and now with the fellowship program, we're involved with the Portland Pirates. This is an American Hockey League team, the team physician for the University of Southern Maine. We take care of the Portland Boxing Club, Portland Rugby Club. We've had affiliations with the women's football team in town, and so I've really tried to focus what we're doing with the fellowship program more in terms of the community-based folks, the schools as well, but I really like to get the fellows out in the community on the sidelines with the adult and youth recreation leagues.
How many? Can you just take one every now and then, or one every? How long is
the fellows?
Yes.
The fellowship's either 1 or 2 years. Every now and then I'll have someone who wants to come through and do a 2-year fellowship, and then we focus. The first year is clinical. The second year we focus either on academic development or research. Most of them take a 1-year track and then take the boards. So.
Very neat. Yeah, it's all worked out.
It certainly has. It's been. I'm absolutely blessed. I love what I do. I love the people that I'm doing it with. I get to come here to the American College of Sports Medicine and see all my good friends and colleagues from around the world. My graduates from around the country come back. It's just. Yeah. It's just.
And
terrific.
how's the rehab? Are you pretty much back 100% or no?
Well, you tell me at the end of my 3 years. It's to quote Garrison Keillor, it's good enough.
It's good enough. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks so much, Bill. It was great talking to you. I told you.
Thank you.
30 minutes go just like that.
Surely did.
And I know you're busy, so it was great for you to chat a little bit. And
thank you.
To learn all this, and appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.